Fire victim urges government intervention. War veterans move to reconcile in Bougainville. Thousands participate to clean city.
This is National EMTV News with Mary Bartolo.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us for Sunday's news. Veterans from North Bougainville will be reconciling with the families of those who were killed in Kunwa, West Coast Bougainville. Our journalist on ground, Fabian Hakalitz, was able to get an exclusive with the team leader, Toby Barnabas, who says it was a pinch not reconciling with the victims' families. It is the right time now, and with sheer determination, they have finally come to a solution to reconcile, with a date set for Thursday.
It's almost after 21 years with no reconciliation to end the history of division and conflict. Since 2013, veterans of North Bougainville, led by Toby Barnabas, a member of the Bougainville Revolutionary Army or BRA, have been planning to reconcile with families of those killed in Kunwa, Mahari constituency, West Coast Bougainville. However, this attempt was unsuccessful, with the government's failure to support.
Mi plabing ga displasan ting now been come up last year November. Na mi plabing come up ting so far long 2017 mi play come up on ting now long mi pla mas sikan long one time all victims blow mi pla.
It's the right time now, Toby says, saying sorry to one another, which was realized following requests from the victims' families for them to reconcile. Despite the many challenges, Toby says, the veterans have taken ownership of this reconciliation, building the self-confidence and trust and raising funds to make this happen.
Money also, copra, cacao, yes, planting mi plabin salim boy, na mi plabin painim displa money blong, walking displa preparation in mas come about. So pa, I think long pla time, inside 7 pla moon, mi pla ben come through longen. Mi pla yeti come out tim long pocket blow mi pla na mi pla ben facilitating this pla program.
While preparations are well underway, it's believed will seal the many broken-hearted, performed in a customary manner. So far, business houses have assisted with food supply, including 4 members of the Bougainville House of Representatives.
Mi pla putim also bell call, and no compensation and bell call tasol by go. Na inside lo display time bell call and by kamosem mi pla putimosem and by 2000 kina lo one pla. Inside lo display all cases and mi pla got 22 pla cases. So 2000 kina I go inside lo one pla lo emiana 1 peak and mas got 22 pla peak, 22 pla mimis, 22 pla akis, 22 pla or lot lap lap.
The veterans of North Bougainville are working closely to stage the many reconciliations. This also opens the pathway for other veterans in Central and South Bougainville to reconcile.
No time lo mi pla mas height, and time lo mi pla all mangi mi pla masana peleskilia. Lo all one something mi pla been working long time long lo crisis time. Lo all geta mangi lo mi pla all geta veterans lo north na lo south na long central mi pla masana pontem na working all reconciliation.
In Boca, Fabian Hakalitz, National EMTV News.
A businessman in Port Moresby whose shop was gutted by fire last Friday says the government must pay attention to the PNG fire service. Winston Yopolo urged the ruling government to prioritize and properly fund fire service so that they are equipped with necessary utilities to combat fire. He thinks the fire service has been neglected for too long.
Winston Yopolo, a businessman whose business is now down in ashes, told EMTV News the fire service has been neglected for too long by consecutive ruling governments. He says only when there is a fire outbreak in the country, the government shows up to support the fire service.
Time fire kira bolsa tok smart bad. Fire go na mo lustintin na go na fire kira bolsa politics tumas.
In recent interviews with the PNG Fire Service Department, this essential government agency has struggled over the years. For the past 2 years, the fire service has come under immense pressure and public criticism over its capability in carrying out its responsibilities. However, framework policies such as the corporate plan are yet to be finalized, including the Fire Service Act. In the recent fire outbreak last Friday at Boroko, firemen could not contain the second blaze and called for support from the National Airports Corporation Fire Service.
Kapmanas fandi ma PNG Fire Service. Na baimol tribal sim lo airport olusim longen.
For businessman Winston Yopolo, he says the national government must make a firm decision to support the fire service.
So mibla abilo government lo fandi fire service. Na one mol necessary fire truck nidim lo mas baim na stand by na fire kira bol mas continue la fire.
Meanwhile, the fire service says investigation for the recent fire at Boroko Shopping Center will commence once all incident reports are submitted. Jack Lopave Jr., National EMTV News.
6 Papua New Guinea Defence Force soldiers graduated as certified aircraft engineers recently. These non-commissioned officers successfully completed their aircraft maintenance engineering course from Avis Skills Engineering in Tamworth, Australia last year. The small graduation was witnessed by Air Transport Wing members, representatives from the PNGDF headquarters and the Institute of Public Administration. The ceremony was held at Papua New Guinea Defence Force Air Transport Wing on Friday. More than 200,000 Christians from the Seventh-day Adventist Church took to the streets of Mount Hagen this morning and conducted a massive cleanathon. The cleanathon is under the church's new project called Total Membership Involvement, or TMI. Those who cleaned up came from over 12 provinces in Papua New Guinea for a 2-week meeting in Mount Hagen. Vasinata Yama files this report from Mount Hagen.
Unlike other Sundays in the city, this Sunday was packed to capacity with more than 200,000 Seventh-day Adventist church goers. The cleanathon started as early as 7 this morning from Kagamuka International Airport and ended at the new town area. The areas that they stationed and cleaned up were Airport, Main Market and Mount Hagen City.
Major city, third largest city in the country. People got them concern us. Our city needs to be clean, and whom can we blame? But the church needs to do something about it. If the government cannot step in to do anything, if the city authorities, those are the concerned people, only no naplo come in the walk-in church and make some initiative now to clean him up. So we are doing a major cleanup. We are already in negotiation with the police force. Now police force only by enforcing law. In actual fact, we talked with them, and the police force is also doing the cleanup together with the church members. So our police force only clean up together with them church members now. By starting from tomorrow and onwards, there won't be any street selling.
The cleaning up of the city was also supported by Mount Hagen Police and Fire Service. Western Highlands Provincial Police Commander, Chief Superintendent Martin Lakari, told MTV News that starting tomorrow, police will be in full force to enforce city rules. He said there will not be any littering and street vending and urged the public to support the SDA mission to live a clean and healthy lifestyle. Communication Director of Western Highlands Mission, Pastor Solomon Paul, said the church felt the need to clean the city. At the end of the 2 weeks meeting, the church will put up rubbish drum in the city.
The city authority will give me plus some gloves, plus sample rake, sample plastics. Yeah, city authority give me plus this legally. But apart from that, church members only dig go into the pocket, rouse him own money, or buy more, or win something, put the fuel block car, only even iron or doses to, only kiss him or car, put the fuel. The people themselves are doing all these things. We call it total membership involvement, TMI.
Meanwhile, a senior preacher from the United States SDA Mission, Pastor Doug Bachelor, will be the guest speaker for the meeting. The gathering will be to prepare the church members for the election period so that they can make good choices in voting and to avoid getting involved in troublemaking. It is also to prepare them for their spiritual strength. Vasinata Yama, National EMTV News, Mount Hagen.
Here with National EMTV News, we'll have more stories after these messages. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the news. Lay police on Friday confiscated homebrew making wares at the admin compound while the owner of the apparatus had escaped arrest. The father of three had an elaborate setup. Sergeant Joseph Tennyson of the mobile squad says they had found a double burner gas stand, gas bottle, distillation hoses, pots and 3 large wheelie bins for storing the illicit alcohol. Sergeant Tennyson says the street value of the homebrew, or locally known as payawara, would be in the thousands of kina. The national government launched the National Strategy to Prevent and Respond to Gender-Based Violence 2016 to 2025 recently. The national strategy is an approach in implementing legislation, policies and programs in relation to gender-based violence. One of the key outlines of the strategy is to ensure that by 2025, the government has made a functioning gender-based violence statement that has zero tolerance of the issue. This launching falls in line with the commemoration of National Women's Day, which falls on March the 24th. The national strategy was endorsed by the National Executive Council on the 15th of December 2016. Police in Kagwa, Southern Highlands Province now have proper accommodation. This follows the opening of a new set of barracks by Southern Highlands Governor William Powie. Hundreds gathered at Kagwa District Headquarters recently to witness this occasion. Keys to the barracks were handed to Provincial Police Commander Superintendent Sibro Papoto by Governor Powie. The 18-man barracks was built at the cost of 10 million kina by the Southern Highlands Provincial Government.
And we can go maybe, and fixing infrastructure is the way of life to have a better life. It's the way of life to give future hope for these people with uniform that we distribute people. There is no better way of giving money and a change in life, I'm telling you. You will crash land somewhere. We back up all of us in that manpower. We back up good accommodation. We back up good what's this song? What can we not make him maintain him another in some Southern Islands?
A Papua New Guinean Member of Parliament says there is a syndicate approving work permits to Chinese nationals who cannot speak English. Oro Governor Gary Jufa said this after 3 Chinese nationals were caught in Popondetta with Port Moresby-based work permits. The pictures of their passports were uploaded on social media. Bethany Harriman with this report.
3 passports belonging to Chinese nationals who didn't speak a word of English were uploaded on the governor's Facebook page. They had work permits allowing them to work in Port Moresby. The 3 were picked up in Popondetta, 143 kilometers from Port Moresby. Oro Governor Gary Jufa says he has written to the police, Ombudsman Commission, Labour Department and Immigration asking for answers.
In this instance, we're talking about people who cannot speak a single word of English, and yet they're working in supervisory roles and management roles. The reason why English is a prerequisite is because of the skills transfer that is necessary, because all these positions are supposed to have in place 3-year training programs. If this person can't speak English, then how is he imparting his knowledge to the people that he's supposed to be training over this 3-year training period?
Jufa says Labour Department has come out defending themselves and the provincial police have responded. The former Customs Commissioner turned politician suspects a syndicate at work.
It is my view that there is a syndicate operating that is processing these documents and these visas and permits for these people. And I've informed the Labour Department, who, instead of coming out and helping me, have gone and become defensive and said that that's not the case.
You listen. You talk to your staffs or yourself.
In the last 4 years, Gary Jufa has personally led crackdowns on businesses owned by Chinese nationals who are allegedly in the country illegally. The governor says if the Labour Minister and Department Secretary fails to fix the problem, they have to step down. Bethany Harriman, National EMTV News.
The garbage compactors for the Buka Town Council have arrived in Buka after Consort's MV Gazelle Coast anchored at the Buka Wharf this week. Buka Town Manager Edward Kenai was happy that the compactors arrived and said this will help to improve the management of waste as part of the waste management plan for the town. A date will be scheduled by the Buka Town Council for the commissioning of the new garbage compactors. A doctor from a private hospital's emergency unit says patients in their late 20s are being treated for illnesses related to lifestyle diseases. Dr. John Chipirao said amongst injury-related cases, lifestyle disease complications are common cases at the hospital. To address the growing numbers, Paradise Private recently launched a new health and wellness clinic.
Paradise Private Hospital launched a health and wellness clinic last week with free checkup and consultation, an initiative aimed at addressing the alarming issue of lifestyle disease and its complications. According to doctors, it's commonly seen in ages between 40 and 50. However, Dr. Chiparu says they're now treating younger age groups, one patient just 29 years old.
So we're starting to see the age at which we see lifestyle disease complications creeping down to an early age. But the majority of the patients that we see with lifestyle diseases are in their 40s and 50s. And if you see the whole scheme of things, these are the people who are supposed to be the backbone of the PNG economy. You know, in your 20s you're still at school. In your 30s you're trying to consolidate yourself, but in your 40s and 50s you are regarded as the team leader. You already established a career, and you're supposed to then be mentoring the younger ones coming up. We're losing a lot of our elites and educated Papua New Guineans in those age years. In big need for awareness, I think. Awareness is the most important thing, and if we can make people aware of their health status early, they can then take preventive measures to try and go away from developing the complications of lifestyle diseases and even death as well.
Lifestyle disease is caused by lack of exercise, high intake of processed food, increased stress level and toxins and alcohol consumption. Dr. Chipero says this leads to diseases such as heart disease, obesity, gout and kidney diseases.
Many of them don't know that they have these diseases. They come in for minor things and then we sort of suspect that they have these diseases. Or when we do their blood pressures, we see that their blood pressures are greatly elevated, and so we do other checks and then we then tell them, look, not only do you have this, but you have so and so and so.
He says medical checkups should be done at least twice a year so that people can know their health status. The Health and Wellness Clinic is open on Wednesdays and Fridays from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. at the Paradise Private Hospital. Merlin Daukatam, National EMTV News.
Studies suggest exercise will help reduce the chances of lifestyle diseases. It is becoming a common sight in Port Moresby to see residents walk or run to keep fit and maintain a healthy lifestyle. While there are those who are able to do that on their own or in small groups, others are finding safety and motivation in numbers and with trainers. Sarah Aupong caught up with a group who are currently going through a 12-week exercise program.
It's called the True Warrior Program, and for this lot, the first 4 weeks involves getting close and personal with the newly paved Paga Ring Road walkway. The participants have one thing in common. They want to get fit and live a healthier lifestyle. Charlie and Biama have been with the True Warrior Program when it first started its sessions in 2013.
3, 2, 1, 0. When I first started, I was 120 kilos, and now I'm 94 kilos. It's a good thing. It's not just the exercise; it's the camaraderie amongst all the fellow warriors.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, we have kids. You want to live longer, to be with your kids. When you sleep well, you don't have those restless nights. Wake up fresh and look forward to the day. Yeah.
One of the 3 trainers in the program, Tomasi Kami, says he has seen a lot of changes in them.
They've lost a lot of weight, but not only that, they're a lot more confident. like the way they carry themselves.
For Barbara, she's just starting her fitness journey. This is her first session.
8 to 5 job, and I don't really have much physical activity, so this is a good way to relieve some stress.
This hasn't scared you away?
No, I feel good actually. I feel like I can continue on the rest of the day now. So.
Others like John are using this as bonding time with his son.
You know, everything that I do, I want to involve my family so that they see that that's the right thing to do, especially in the good things, not the bad things. Yeah, that's why I involved my son. He's also someone that wants to look after his health.
Dr. Linda Sirigoy, also a participant, says it is encouraging to see Port Moresby residents take their health and fitness seriously.
Globally now we have a major health issue, which is lifestyle diseases, and this is also a health issue here in Papua New Guinea.
For Port Moresby residents who want a little more convincing, you can see some before and after shots on the True Warrior Facebook page.
So it's just facebook.com/True Warrior, so TRU Warrior. So we'll be uploading some transformation pics of our trainers firstly. So the first one to go up will be Ash. Okay, so you can see what he was like before and then what he's like today.
Go True Warrior!
Sarah Aupong, National EMTV News.
And all the best to those warriors, including our very own news manager, Neville Choi. You're watching National EMTV News. We'll have more after these messages. Welcome back to the news. Selected provinces and districts will soon have access to clean water supply through a new water project. Treasury Minister Patrick Pruij signed a loan agreement from the World Bank for more than 200 million kina for this project under the Water Sanitation and Hygiene Policy. The project is worth 243 million kina and includes the government's counterpart funding of more than 20 million kina. It will be implemented by the Department of National Planning and Water PNG in 9 provincial towns and 10 rural districts. This is a significant project by the government to improve the living standards for many in rural areas who do not have access to clean water and proper sanitation.
Today's signing marks another significant milestone for our country and the World Bank Group. The Water and Sanitation Project significant loan assistance will further progress the country's development goal in the social sector by providing clean and renewable water supply to many thousands of people living in 9 provincial towns and 10 rural districts throughout Papua New Guinea. Safe water supply is a requisite for improved sanitation and hygiene in all rural and urban areas.
We want to go on and put in as many water supplies in our district towns because they are the base, towns for future towns. If we can develop the smaller districts, then people will not tend to go to the bigger towns because the services will be there.
Turning abroad now, fair to say FIFA's most powerful man is the FIFA president, and the sport's most powerful woman is the Association Secretary General Fatma Samora. The 55-year-old is not only the first African and non-European, but also the first woman to hold the post. As she approaches her first year on the SOB, CNN in an exclusive interview with how she found it.
The FIFA Confederation Cups mark the moment when football takes center stage in Russia.
If Russia is taking centre stage as it prepares to host next year's Football World Cup, as the first African to be made FIFA Secretary General and the highest-ranked woman in world football, Senegal's Fatma Samora is attracting her own fair share of attention. We were given exclusive access to the First Lady of Football herself.
How much of a sense do you get that the Russians are even more determined to make the Confederations Cup, the World Cup, a success?
Well, first, we don't work on stereotype as the administration of football. We do work on reality on the ground, and from what I've seen and what has been reported on a daily basis through the news is that people are still very enthusiastic when it comes to football, and Russia is not exception.
Both the Russian World Cup organisers and FIFA have faced plenty of questions ahead of next year's tournament, from the initial concerns about the integrity of the bidding process to more recent fears over the threat of hooliganism. and racism within Russian football. As an African woman, from your experiences here in Russia, how have you found it?
Well, so far I can say that I'm not on the pitch, so I haven't had a really chance to see in depth the issue, but definitely for our sustainability and diversity unit, it's a big issue in headquarters, and definitely for FIFA, it's zero policy tolerance.
Do you think they're taking it seriously enough? Do they understand the issue here in Russia?
Well, definitely the Russian authorities are taking it very seriously.
One of the criticisms of Samora when she joined FIFA was her lack of football background, but seeing her in this scenario, she more than holds her own. Football gets a bad press in terms of its treatment of women, in terms of sexism. Given what you know from your other aspects of work, how bad is football compared to politics, say?
I cannot compare both, because in every aspect of the sport and the political life, you have positive development and you have also some drawback. What I can say that when it comes to really women positioning within the football, we have a long way to go.
They say, though, don't they, that politics and football shouldn't mix. Are you comfortable?
Well, it's difficult to say so, but definitely the interference on the day-to-day operation is something that we should be fighting to maintain. Taking it from politics, yes, but doesn't mean that we cannot speak and work and collaborate with government.
Speaking of women in politics, Hong Kong's election committee has selected a woman as its new leader. Her selection, however, is under dispute as polls reveal she is not the people's choice.
It is Carrie Lam, the first female chief executive in the history of the territory. And when the announcement was made here at Hong Kong election headquarters, it was met by cheers in the public gallery. But according to the polls, she is not the people's choice. She was voted in by a near 1,200-member election committee said to be broadly representative of Hong Kong, but made up largely of pro-business and pro-Beijing interests. Changing this system was a key demand of the 2014 pro-democracy umbrella movement protests. That request back then for universal suffrage was not granted. And earlier today, we saw hundreds of protesters out and about carrying the signs, the symbols, the slogans, asking for universal suffrage. So that protest will continue. So Carrie Lam, the first female chief executive of Hong Kong, voted in, which has 777 votes by this election committee. A number of challenges ahead for her, including meeting the public's demand for universal suffrage, a growing rich-poor divide, increasing influence of Beijing in Hong Kong. She's the new leader of Hong Kong, a major global financial hub and home to 7 million people who, by and large, did not vote for her.
The U.S. military and Iraq are investigating allegations that Iraq civilians may have been killed in coalition airstrikes. The Pentagon confirms that coalition warplanes struck ISIS fighters and equipment on March the 17th in western Mosul. It is now looking into whether civilians died in that bombing raid and several other airstrikes in the area.
An investigation has been launched by U.S. Central Command, which is responsible for the military operations in Iraq and Syria. A U.S. defense official told CNN the U.S. military is trying to determine how many civilians died as a result of the Mosul strikes and how it may have happened. This comes as Iraqi forces move through the densely populated old city of Mosul. Hundreds of thousands of civilians are believed to be trapped. Iraqi federal police driving the push switched up tactics, using more snipers, drones, soldiers on foot, and fewer mortars and mechanized vehicles. Fleeing civilians described how ISIS is using residents as human shields.
We were being fired on, and Islamic State would not let the families out. We went out in the middle of the night. People were killed, but thank God we managed to escape. We were fired upon from the Coalition Air Force. The snipers go to the top of buildings that have families, and the Air Force strikes these buildings, killing them and everyone in the house.
While they're investigating the allegations, U.S. Central Command says the military operations will continue and that their goal is 0 civilian casualties.
You're with National EMTV News. Up next, some sporting details in Trukai Sports. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. The Port Moresby Soccer Association concluded its finals playoffs this afternoon at the Bissini Football Grounds. In the women's division, competition favourites Munkas defeated Gurias by 2-0, while in the men's division, Yamaros took on rivals Munkas 2.
The women's final saw the competition's defending champions, Mumkas, boasting a handful of experience and fast forwards against the underdogs, Gurias, needless to say, equally talented as the opposition. With the experience in the side, Mumkas were first to put pressure on Gurias, with several attempts on goal. Gurias, on the other hand, kept a calm head, spreading the ball out wide, forcing Mumkas' backline scrambling in defense. It was 0-0 in the first half, but the continuous charge down by Mumkas in the second stanza led to a perfectly executed goal. The hot sunny conditions taking its toll on the players with signs of fatigue. The reigning champs capitalized on the situation and slotted the second to seal the match with a 2-goal advantage. Meanwhile, in the men's final, Yamaros and Mumkas 2 face off in a thrilling contest of speed and skills as the game continues. Shane Saroya, National EMTV Sports.
And the grand final between Yamaros and Munkas ended with a scoreline of 0-0 at full time. Due to the heavy downpour in the nation's capital, the final has been rescheduled for next Saturday. Now to the World Game. Several days after Tahiti beat PNG 3-1, other countries around the world are also competing for a spot in the Russian World Cup. The American team breathing a huge sigh of relief after finally getting a win that they hope will kickstart their Russia 2018 World Cup campaign.
The goals simply flew in, all 6 of them. In fact, veteran striker Clint Dempsey was the star turn with a hat-trick. Remember, Dempsey had been sidelined with an irregular heartbeat since last August, and he only started playing again this month. The 34-year-old has now netted 55 international goals. That's only too shy of the now re-retired Landon Donovan's US record. Well, even the former boss Klinsmann was watching clearly, couldn't contain his joy, tweeting 6-0. Awesome result and fantastic to see Clint Dempsey back being healthy and scoring again. Way to go. Mexico are now top of the standings thanks to a convincing win over Costa Rica in front of their own fans at the famed Azteca Stadium. El Tri taking the lead through Javier Chicharito Hernandez after just 7 minutes. The Leverkusen man, now his country's joint top scorer with 46 goals, level with Jared Borghetti as well. The hosts then doubling their lead just before half-time. Carlos Vela with his second assist, this time picking out Nestor Araujo at the far post. 2-0, El Tricolor win it. And finally, Trinidad and Tobago getting their first win in the group, edging Panama by 1-0 in front of, in the port of Spain there. Minnesota's Kevin Molino scoring the only goal of the match with a shot from the edge of the box, enough for 3 points. Well, the Mexicans remain unbeaten as they move top of the standings right now on 7 points. They're a point clear of the Costa Ricans, who had won their opening 2 games without conceding. The US needing that win very badly, and they get it to breathe new life into their campaign. Still 7 matches left. Remember, the top 3 qualifying for Russia automatically.
Back home and to softball, the men's elimination between Stingers and Bears was a close match. The Bears counted on each pitch for a free walk. The Stingers took every opportunity to get double plays off the Bears before closing the game, with 10 points, edging out the Bears a point behind.
Today's knockouts in the men's division saw Stingers take on Bears in a close match as the two teams took turns to bat in a fierce match while trying to knock each other out. Both teams had equal rounds of runs while managing to have all bases loaded. Stingers didn't have to waste time as they took out the Bears 1, 2 and 3 down to better their chances at winning the game. Stingers' midfield defense and pitch worked well with the catcher to take down Bears 1 by 1. Bears found their weakness and quickly turned back at the Stingers for a 3-out exchange to catch up with the Stingers. Taking charge of the bat, Bears tried to complete home runs, but Stingers had control of all bases, taking down the Bears. At the 6th inning, Stingers had all bases guarded, putting all their trust on the pitcher and catcher for a double play to make way for 3 down. At the 7th innings, Stingers proved to be the dominant side with 10 points, edging out the Bears 9. This win qualifies the Stingers for the next week's semi-finals. In the other match, defending champions Yokomo took on PNG Power. Godwin Eki, National, MTV Sports.
Don't go anywhere, we'll have more of Trukai Sports after these messages.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. To the NCD Corporate Volleyball Finals, the main games last evening, NCD and Pomgen came out on top in the men's finals for the A and B grade cup final playoff. In the women's division, MJ Electrical and Fairfax proved to be the better teams in pools A and B.
In the Men's Cup Grand Final in Pool A, Team Pomgen met ANZ. Pomgen showed dominance early on by claiming the first set with a 25-26 scoreline. In response, ANZ sailed through the second set with added flair that saw similar scoreline to the first set, this time in their favour. Pomgen came back in the third set, regrouped, and the heat turned up as it was a score for a score until ANZ got tired on 26 points and the guys in white came out victorious. And in Pool B of the Men's Cup Finals, NCDC and CPL had a crowd on its feet. The NCDC team was the crowd favourite, but CPL guys gave them a good challenge. Though CPL failed to acquire any set as the NCD guys sailed through the first 2 sets without fail. With 2 sets already under their belt and an already exhausted CPL side, it was a no-brainer they brought the third set home as well. And in the Women's Cup playoffs, IRC crumpled under Fairfax pressure with a 3-1 defeat in Pool A, while the NCDC ladies went head-to-head with MJ Electrical but fell short of the win by a set. Dinero Striker, National, MTV Sports.
To beach volleyball, round 8 of the beach volleyball competition for both the under-15s and under-18s saw a few forfeits in today's matches. Coach for the under-18 men's train-on squad, Mohamed, said competition for the juniors are going well, with the interest quickly growing.
Young beach volleyball enthusiasts today had the beach courts busy as they played in their divisions. Both under-15 and under-18 junior players showed great skills, putting on a good show for the spectators as they pushed through the sand to defend against their opponents. Supervising the game in the under-15s division was Pacific Games gold medalist Mohamed, who spoke off camera, saying watching the young men play and the level of performance, PNG is set to see more top players for the code of beach volleyball in the future. Moha said in the last 2 months, since the start of the beach volleyball competition, great potential has come through at the time where the Federation is preparing to send 2 top players for the under-18 men's team to the Bahamas for the Youth Commonwealth Games. While normal competition is played on the weekends, weekdays are set for training for the train-on squad of 13 men. From the 13-man squad, the number will be cut down in the next week or 2 to 6 players, then further cut down to 2 who will represent PNG at the Youth Games. Competition for the seniors will continue until around April and May, where selection will be made to attend the Commonwealth Games qualifiers in Fiji. Next weekend will be round 9 of the beach volleyball competition for the under-15 and under-18 men's and women's competition of the season proper. Godwin Eki, National, MTV Sports.
To basketball now, and the Papua New Guinea will play host to the Melanesian Cup Championship in Port Moresby. Basketball Federation CEO Joel Kalu says preparations have begun to select the final teams.
going to see if he can take him on.
With only 5 months to the Melanesian Cup Championships, Basketball PNG CEO Joel Kalu says there is enough time to get the senior players organised for the event. With the Nationals to take place in July, Kalu said the event will be used to make selections for both the men's and women's teams.
Our national championships are scheduled for July. That will be our major selection event for those PNG national men's and women's teams. So preparations, look, we haven't begun preparations just yet. July is still a few months off, so we've got some time. Right now we're focusing on our AGM that's on this weekend and getting our affiliated associations all set to go for the year. Yeah, look, the national championships will be a really good opportunity for the best players in the country to come together, and then the premier players to earn selection for PNG squads.
He said after a long break from the 2015 Pacific Games and with limited time, preparations and training will be the priority areas so that the final team can be ready to play against some of the top teams in the Pacific. Melanesian Cup Championships will be a qualifying event for PNG and the other Pacific Island countries to secure a spot in the 2019 Pacific Games in Tonga.
The focus this year is on seniors. You know, with the Melanesian Cup in September, you know, we want to really make sure the Federation is, you know, giving those teams the best opportunity to be successful at the Melanesian Cup. That's a Pacific Games qualifying event, so we've got to finish in the top 3 to be able to be eligible for Tonga in 2019. So this year the Federation is focused all on seniors.
Fiji, Solomon Island, Vanuatu and New Caledonia will also be participating. Godwin Eki, National EMTV Sports.
And that is it for Trukai Sports tonight. Don't go anywhere. Up next, you were the details for the next 24 hours.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. With doing with Dulux.
Here's a look at your weather for the next 24 hours in the southern region. A few showers and thunderstorms in Port Moresby, Daru and Kerema, showers and thunderstorms, rain for Alotau and Popondetta. To the Momasi region, a shower or two in Lae, Wau and Madang, light showers in Wewak, light rain in Vanimo. To the New Guinea Islands region, a shower or two in Lorengau and Buka, passing thundery showers in Kimbe, fine weather in Kavieng, Kokopo and Rabaul. And in the Highlands region, Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabeg, all these major centers can expect some rain and showers over the next 24 hours. To look at the forecast for small ships for tonight and tomorrow, first there is a strong wind warning current for all coastal waters of Hood Point to Samarai Island, including Western Milne Bay Islands, waters of southern PNG Indonesian border, through Torres Strait to Kiwai Island to Kerma, Yule Island, Hood Point and with waters of Samarai Island to Cape Vogel and Finchafen, seas 1 to 2 meters. Waters of Hood Point to Samarai Island and waters of eastern and western Milne Bay Islands, seas 2 to 2.5 meters. Waters of Finchafen through Whittier Strait, CSC Island to Long Island and with waters of Long Island to Madang, Bogia, Wewak, Aitape, Vanimo and the northern PNG Indonesian border, sea 0.5 to 1.3 meters. Waters of Manus and its western group of islands, sea 0.5 to 1 meter. Waters of New Ireland to New Britain and Bougainville, sea 0.5 to 1.5 meters. And a look at the ocean forecast for PNG areas. Coral Sea, seas moderate to rather rough with west to northwesterly winds at 15 to 25 knots. Solomon Sea, seas slight with northeast to northwesterly winds at 10 to 15 knots. Bismarck Sea, seas slight with northwest to northeasterly winds at 10 to 15 knots. And the Pacific Ocean, seas slight with east to northeasterly winds at 10 to 15 knots.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. With doing with Dulux.
And to end the news, a recap of our main stories tonight. Fire victim urges government intervention. War veterans move to reconcile on Bougainville. And thousands participate to clean Mount Hagen. And that has been the news, sports and weather for tonight, Sunday the 26th of March 2017. On behalf of the EMTV News team, have a pleasant working week. Good night.